was a conductive wire, and you were so electric. I had no say when you came so near, and just passed right through me.
Hey everyone, welcome to Geekdom is Back. I'm your host, Deanna Chapman, and today we are doing a special crossover episode with Disney Dependent. They may or may not have paid me to say that.
We did a lot of money.
So much money. All of the money, in fact. So today I am joined by James MacMillan and producer Ash, whose last name will not be pronounced.
Ever. That's why it's producer Ash.
Yes,
Woohoo!
producer Ash is her last name. She
And first
actually
name.
just goes by, it's like Sting
That's it.
or
Yes.
Seal.
Yeah.
Producer Ash.
And today we're doing something a little different because I have questions about Disneyland, and they are hopefully going to answer them.
We could talk about this ad nauseum, which we do
Yeah,
every
I mean,
week.
we have a podcast all about it, so that should give you an idea.
Yeah. And earlier this year, which is wild that was still this year,
Yeah,
the three of us went to Disneyland.
we sure did.
And we broke Deanna.
Did I tell you my lightsaber
Yes.
died? Oh, you probably know because of the podcast.
It
I
was
said
on the
shit.
podcast.
Did you end up keeping it in? I don't know if you did or not.
I don't remember. It comes out tomorrow. We'll find
I
out.
guess we'll find out. I try to do a big moment on the show where I like, hold on to the guest. You keep talking. I'm gonna go get my lightsaber. Hold on. And I get it, and I'm like, okay, listen to this. I'm gonna turn it on the mic. Nothing.
Nothing.
But God damn it.
Yeah. So James and I both nerded out hard,
Yes,
bought some
we did.
lightsabers,
That was
shipped
fun.
them home.
Yep.
Mine was dead on arrival. And I spent so much time trying to figure it out. And then I finally got it working. And then it would just make noise in the background while I was working. And
Yes,
I had
that's
to
what
take the
started.
battery
That's
out.
what happened to mine. I
Yeah.
think that's what drained it. Dude, that's
Probably.
exactly what happened to mine.
I just took the battery out. I
What
gave
kind of
up.
batteries does it take?
It's
you
like
remember?
some weird looking battery thing. It might take like
Okay.
D12 batteries or something.
Okay. Someone
It's like
have
a
to
big
get
chunky boy.
Do you have to take
Yeah.
the whole thing apart?
You have to take the bottom of the handle apart. We'll figure it out
Okay.
when I'm done here.
Yeah, maybe this is not the best time to figure this out.
This is thrilling podcast
Yes.
content.
I mean, if you're talking geekdom, we're already thick into it.
Oh, or Disney people, Star Wars fans are like, yeah, talk more about the lightsaber handle.
Yeah, I will help you with that later.
Okay.
But I had this grand plan to prepare questions, and let me tell you, I did not.
Ah,
So we're just winging it.
we're just
today.
winging it.
I love
Sometimes that's the best. I can wing it when it comes to Disneyland.
Yeah. So for context, we did Disneyland and California Adventure.
We did.
We did the whole thing
Yep.
in a day. The first day of my vacation, I might add, which
Yeah.
the first day of like a 10-day vacation.
We wore you out in the very beginning of your trip.
Everyone I knew was like, "You sure did that, didn't you?"
Yep. Oh, I mean, you looked like someone had stolen your soul by the end of the day.
Someone did steal her soul. It was Mickey Mouse.
Poor Deanna. And Ashley and I, we have a different, level of what we can take for as far as Disneyland is
Yeah.
concerned.
You have a high tolerance.
No, we have a
But
high,
look,
so it's
I
like,
stuck it out and we went all the way back to Galaxy's
oh, you were a
Edge.
trooper.
Yes.
You were a trooper. You went all the way from DCA to Galaxy's Edge to hit Rise of Resistance,
Yeah. So
which we
could-
did.
Yeah.
So finally.
I was like, I'm at Disneyland. I am not going to miss out on the Star Wars
I know.
rides.
I know. And we tried it earlier in the day.
And then we got stuck with like the worst people possible.
Was it raining that day? Earlier in the day?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different trip. That's right. Anyway, yeah, we tried. I mean, that ride has 2-hour lines damn near all
Regularly,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough
and
one
I
to get
think
on.
the only things we didn't get to go on were things I had been on before in other iterations. Like we didn't do Guardians, but I
Yep.
had did it as Tower of Terror. So it's the same ride, just different visuals.
Right. Yeah. Did we? And we didn't do. Or no, did we do Smuggler's Run? The Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
With the little boy
With the
who
terrible
That's
child.
right.
could not pilot.
That's right.
And the
Yeah, he
terrible
was
mother.
terrible. He's like, yeah, let him pilot. That's a great idea.
Yeah, he couldn't like see or reach anything.
Nothing.
So we were just being crashed for about
Yes.
2 minutes straight.
Our backs got some new alignment.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an experience.
And I mean, we didn't do Space Mountain, which is always fun, but That and Thunder Railroad, I was like, I have done those.
Yeah.
We're fine.
You gotta pick.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, maybe that's a good place to start, Deanna, is when people are going to this park and you haven't been in a long time, or if you've never been, you're going to want to try to do it all. Mm-hmm. So just go in there knowing you're not.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Because that's the thing. When you guys go, you're usually there for multiple days.
And it's our 100th time going. So
Right.
it's like,
This was
we're fine.
probably very different for you because it was just like, we have one day.
I have one day.
And it was very much like there was so much strategy. Okay, so Deanna
Yeah.
needs to give me her must-haves list.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be like a nice-to-have. And then we're going to plan it around what we know about the schedule of the day.
Yeah.
And when the parades are happening so we can get around them. There's a lot of logistics involved. I love logistics, so
Yes.
I was really enjoying that.
Yeah, and there's things that you can do to help yourself. I mean, obviously download the app. If you haven't been in a long time and you haven't used the app, let the geese... You've heard this on Disney Dependent.
Yes. I crank it
There
up.
it is. That's living in Oregon for you. Yeah, so if you haven't used the app, the Disneyland app, then that means you haven't been in a long time. And you need to know that the park is very different as far as navigating the park. I mean, one of the best things about Disneyland is that it's the same, yet different all the time.
Right.
Like, in many ways, it has that familiar thing that, like, you loved as a kid, especially Main Street. It doesn't really change. But, yeah, like, there's things you can do to make your life a little easier. Get the app, be familiar with the app, watch some YouTube vlogs going into it, know what rides you want to do and which ones you don't care about. That's what
Yeah.
you did.
Would you say one of the biggest things is just look at the map
Look
to
at the
understand
map.
the proximity of
Yeah,
things?
totally. Yeah, because when we first started going again, we did the rookie thing where you're at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and then you're like, we get a fast pass for the Incredicoaster. That's on the other side, a different amusement park.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it
then,
couldn't
oh,
have been
Haunted
further.
Mansion. Like,
Yeah.
no.
And so by 2 hours in, your feet are toast. You're
This
just
is the-
completely trashed.
This is how the first time I ended up in a wheelchair was
Yeah.
during that.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing is like this is a walking place. Dress accordingly. Like dress comfortably, wear actual walking shoes or running shoes, athletic shoes. Don't go in there with your like I don't
Vans.
know. Yeah, your Vans or whatever. It's just not going to go well. Is that what you wore? I don't remember what you wore.
We had this
No,
conversation.
you had walking shoes.
I was like, I normally do not wear running shoes with my jeans because
Because
I think it's weird.
Oh, I don't
but
either. Just
I
to Disneyland.
don't care anymore,
No.
especially now living somewhere where I walk all the time.
Gotta be comfortable.
I was just like, if I'm getting on the light rail and going somewhere, I probably won't. But if I'm going for like a walk in the neighborhood for like 30 or 40 minutes, I will just put on my running shoes with my jeans, and I do not care anymore.
And you can bring a backpack, so you'll have like a jacket or whatever. They also have lockers, which we use a lot.
Yeah.
So there's don't go in there suffering. Like you can make this a comfortable thing for you.
I feel like part of the reason why a lot of people will do the suffering thing is because they've already spent so much money to get into the park
Yeah.
that the idea of paying for lockers and all of this extra stuff, fast passes,
Yeah.
it's just too much for some people.
Which is funny because, I mean, if you get a locker and you get Genie Plus, like for one person, let's say that's like $20 total.
Yeah.
And those $20 are going to make it so that you have an actually good day.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that. It's actually the opposite for me. I'm not trying to be a money snob because budgets are what they are.
Yeah.
Full stop. I understand that.
Bring
But-
a lunch at that point.
But yeah, exactly. Like that $20, because you'll see people like we've gone with people who don't want to get a locker or they don't want to get Genie Plus or whatever, and then we go see them buy a bunch of merch and expensive stuff at the park.
Yeah.
So they're choosing to do that, and that's fine. But I would recommend pay the extra money so that your experience is a little bit better.
Yeah.
You've already paid this much. You've already traveled that far. Like, go for it.
I do have a pair of mouse ears. I don't know if I still have them. They were from when I was a kid, so they don't fit anyway, regardless.
Of course.
But that is probably the longest I had gone since like buying something at Disneyland, aside from the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And I obviously didn't buy that. My parents bought it for me because it had like my name embroidered in it.
Aw.
Yeah, look, I mean, there are definitely things that you can only get at Disneyland. Mm-hmm. I will agree with that, but I would encourage people to spend their time and money on the experience. That's what's going to be the best
Yeah.
anyway.
And that's why we did the lightsabers.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because
totally.
you get to build them.
Yep.
Are they the prettiest lightsabers you can buy? Are they the best, like, hilts?
No, probably not.
No.
But there's an entire ritual and ceremony
The
involved.
whole
Right.
moment, yeah.
That was what it was for me because I was looking online and I was like, oh, I could get cooler ones,
Right.
but I don't get to build them.
No. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge
Yeah.
at Disneyland.
You
I know.
can get a ton of Disney food on Amazon these days, and you can
Yeah.
get a ton of Disney merch on Shop Disney.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So, like, if those are
Or
the
even
things
like
that you're
box lunch
interested
at your
in,
local mall. I mean,
Yeah,
they're all over
sure.
the place.
but yeah, I don't know. I guess it just depends on what you're into. But if you're spending the money to be in the park, just pay to be comfortable and to be able to enjoy the experience.
And that's the thing is Disneyland is expensive,
Yeah.
especially these days. It's not your local park. Like it's a full-fledged amusement park that costs a lot of money.
Well, and this is the thing. This is why I grew up going to Knott's. Mm-hmm. It was
It makes sense.
$60 for a year-long pass.
It's a total, yeah. It really is the locals park.
Yeah.
I mean, Disneyland was a locals park when I was a kid, like in the 90s. I do remember it being like where all the Orange County people went.
Yeah,
on the
and I
weekends.
had friends in elementary school and high school who were like that. They had their annual passes
totally.
and they went all the time.
Yep, yep.
And that was kind of their hangout.
There's a lot of
still know
parents, like,
people who do that.
babysitters.
Yeah.
They would just drop their kids off in the morning and they just go, just run
Yeah, because
free.
they knew they'd be safe.
You're
They're
safe.
at Disneyland.
Yeah, you're in the gates of Disneyland. You're fine. And especially if you're from there, you know how to get around and, you know. But yeah, it's just a different thing now, and just go into it knowing that. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be like the biggest piece of advice I would give
Yeah.
off the bat.
So that's all good starter info.
Yes.
I have specific questions, though.
Okay, let's
Hit
hear.
me.
You love talking about bathrooms, so we'll start there.
We
Oh,
sure
yeah.
do.
When I went with you guys, I didn't ask a lot of questions ahead of time because Ash, like you were saying, you asked me like what I wanted to do and you planned.
Yeah.
But there are people who don't like spending time to like stop and go to the bathroom.
Right?
And I was like, oh no, what if they're these people?
Oh, no. You found out quick.
And I was
It's an
like,
important
oh,
part of
they
the
go to
day.
the bathroom a lot. This is
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
It's constantly bathroom
I
break.
have to pee right now. I mean, I have to pee a lot. I have a little girl's blood. I drink iced coffee all day.
I have a little girl's bladder.
I drink a lot of tea.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens. Like, I texted Ash. I was like, I'm going to be there soon. I don't want to ask for the key at the bagel place to go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna get
But I
there.
got to go to the bathroom as soon as I get there.
Part of my experience, this is just a me thing. Iced coffee at Starbucks is like my jam. I got to have it.
And their coffee and tea just runs right
It
through
runs
you.
right through you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So bathrooms, very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So I was stoked on that. You've talked about on Disney Dependent, the smelly bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adventureland. Yeah.
Did you not experience the smelly bathroom?
We did not do much in Adventureland, I don't think.
Okay.
There's
yeah.
not much in Adventureland,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair.
We might have had lunch near there.
That's right.
Yes.
I think we stopped for lunch like in between somewhere in Galaxy's
Did we do
Edge.
Indiana Jones? I think we did.
We did.
With you.
Yes.
So we did that. We didn't do Jungle Cruise.
No.
Did we do Pirates?
We did
with you?
Pirates. I think Indian Pirates were the two.
Okay.
So we were on the other side. The other side of Adventureland has the stinky bathroom.
Yeah, there's like a little pathway that connects Frontierland to Adventureland, and that bathroom.
I was going to ask how you discovered this. And I just figure it's because you guys have been so much, but we somehow avoided it.
It's funny because normally, if we're just like not thinking, especially if we're with Sarah, all three of us instinctually just go right up Main Street and take that
We
first
take the
left
first left.
into Adventureland. And that's just the way that you go into Disneyland.
just how
You
you
go
go.
up that way and you go into Adventureland.
Well, we also have a tradition that the first day of a trip, say we're going for a couple days, the first day of that trip, we hit Pirates. It's the first ride you do.
And that's the way that we go to Pirates.
I think it's in the Constitution somewhere. You do Pirates first when you go to Disneyland.
But this is this family, and it takes a million years to get anywhere. So by the time that we're
Yeah.
done getting into the gates and getting through Main Street, you got to hit that bathroom.
Yeah, you're a solid 45 minutes already, an hour being at the park. Takes that long.
And sometimes, you know what? It just calls to you from
Yeah, well, there's a
It
general
wafts.
wafty waft smell throughout the entirety of the park.
Yes.
Don't know why, don't know what it is, but every once in a while you'll catch it, and it's not always next to a bathroom.
Sometimes I think it's the water.
Yes, I do
The
think
water
so.
has a stank to it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's all theme park water.
It's very still,
Yeah. I don't think
very
it's
gross.
specific to Disneyland necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean,
Disneyland just has more of it, I think,
Yeah.
than
So
any other park.
actually, honestly, the bathroom strategy is a huge part of your experience anywhere like this, especially
is.
Disneyland. You got to know where they are. You got to know what the good ones are. Here's a little tip for you: if you're in Adventureland, skip that one. I mean, if you just got to go, boom, boom, go there.
Sure.
But if you got to like drop a deuce and you want some
If you want
privacy,
some privacy, you go into the tiki room
go in
area.
the tiki room little
and
area.
there is a, what is it? It's a companion
It's
room.
there's like two of them,
So,
and they're almost always.
and the
empty.
app will tell you where all of the companion bathrooms are, and those are the ones where you get the entire
lock.
bathroom to yourself.
Which is a rarity at Disneyland, and I covet those
They're
moments.
precious. I know where all of them are.
And they're air conditioned. Yeah.
Amazing.
So that's a big
What
one.
else can I tell you about bathrooms?
Yeah, what else do you want to know?
I think that about covers it on bathrooms.
When we started the podcast, we used to call it
This is a bathroom-based podcast.
it's a bathroom-based podcast.
Yeah. I want to talk about food next because I feel like rides are the obvious thing.
Yeah.
Like, go on what you want to go on. You don't have to do everything.
Right.
No one says you have to do the Matterhorn if you don't want to.
No, I don't. It's a backbreaker.
And I get it if it's your first time at Disneyland and you want to try to fit in as many things
Yeah,
as
you wanna
possible.
do as
But
much.
with the way Disney has expanded to include Star Wars and Marvel and the
Yeah.
Disney stuff and Pixar,
Yep.
it's like pick your things. If
Pick
you
your
want to do
things.
all the Pixar things, go do all the Pixar things.
Exactly.
They're all right by each other.
Yep.
If you want to do Galaxy's Edge, don't do what we did and try to do it all at once. But to be fair, what we did was not our fault. The ride was not working when we went to go on it the first time.
And then
Yes.
to be fair, even further, that Rise of the Resistance is constantly breaking down. So
Yeah.
It really is.
maybe build that into your day for thinking about that.
Yeah.
So, James, my question for you is, what did you do before there was Starbucks in Disneyland?
He wasn't there.
Well, when I was there before Starbucks, I was a kid.
So you weren't a coffee fiend yet.
Right. It was the Market House, which technically it still is called Market House, but it's a Starbucks. Yeah, back in the day, it was just like Disneyland coffee. I don't even
Okay.
know what the brand was. I don't know when the Starbucks opened there. Maybe a more local person would know that.
I just have to say that James is currently molesting Mickey's nose. There's a plushie of Mickey, and he's just molesting it
Just giant.
while
mouth.
thinking.
Yeah. I don't know what I would do.
If there was not a Starbucks
I
there?
don't know that you'd be able to do it
I mean,
if they didn't have like iced coffee
let
available.
me be clear about my Starbucks thing. Starbucks coffee is the worst. Taste wise, it's garbage. It tastes like a cow's mouth. It's not good. I was going to say a different part of the body, but I'm trying to keep this PC. The reason I like to go there is because I know what I'm getting. It's consistent. It's the same thing at this Starbucks as it is going to be in friggin' Alabama. It's all the same type. I can rely on it. I also work from coffee shops damn near every day, almost all day, and I need to know that the internet works. It's just this
And you get free refills.
free refills. That's really, yeah. I know what I'm doing. But you know, I go to like the random independent one. It's like the coffee's so good there, and they do the pour over and the whole thing. They have like really lame vintage chairs, and like the internet never works, and they're jerks, and it's over. I don't need it.
I went
Don't care.
to a coffee shop yesterday that was not Starbucks.
Well, you live in Seattle.
Yeah.
You live in Portland, so it's what it's known for.
Right. And I was like, this latte tastes very different than what I
Yeah,
usually get.
see? I know. Starbucks ruined everything. They ruined everything, and they made everything better at the
But
same
I've
time.
become so used to how Starbucks tastes that I'm like, do I like lattes or do I just like Starbucks?
You just like Starbucks. I know. It's a disaster. Yeah.
So you would have to be that person who hits like Starbucks in downtown Disney.
He
and
still
just
is.
like stocks up and takes
still
it into
is.
the park if they did not have them in the park.
He typically
yeah.
will get one before we get into the park, and then get another one in the park
Yeah, because if I wait to do it on Main Street, which is what I prefer to do,
because it's cuter.
it's more magical if you do it inside. But it's a 40-minute, 35-minute wait.
I think we got lucky when we went because we hit
did.
Starbucks
We got
like
very lucky.
at an off time. It was
Right.
still busy, don't get me wrong,
And it's like that all day. There's not really a
but we didn't stand there for too long.
No, that was a very quick one.
It
That's
was
pretty
like-
rare.
Bathroom/coffee break.
It's like the afternoon is typically the best place the time to go rather.
Yeah, because I think we hit it.
It's probably like 10 a.m.
I think we hit it right before we
Yeah.
went to DCA.
Oh, so like
Yeah,
noon.
no, it was
Yeah.
the daytime. Yeah, because I mean, basically from open till like 10 a.m., it's just slammed.
Yeah, because we definitely
Slammed.
went after lunch, I think.
And
And
there's-
that seems to be the move if you don't want to waste your
Yep.
time waiting in line at Starbucks.
And the other thing is, they do have coffee. They have it at Jolly Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple other places, but it's not going to be. So it'll be back to our original thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird and inconsistent, and they give you crappy cups. It's not even close to what like Starbucks offers. There probably won't be a latte.
Yeah.
Iced coffee, maybe.
Oh, they definitely have lattes, but they're pure milk.
It's pure milk. For some reason, Disneyland coffee, they just, yeah, it's basically all milk, which is not great.
And originally, I would say just do mobile order all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
even these days, you mobile order something from Jolly Holiday,
And it still takes a
you
long
still
time.
have to wait in the mobile order pickup line for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of chaos
I know
right now.
It
when
is.
we went to get lunch, we just stopped at like whatever burger place, kind of in between Galaxy's Edge and I think
Hungry
Adventureland.
Bear.
Hungry Bear. There we go.
For those-
And it took oddly long to
Yeah.
get our food, and no one was in line. There were
No.
what, like 2 groups of people in front of us.
I will say it for those that are like kind of curious about Disneyland
Mm-hmm.
and maybe want to go. Maybe that's your audience. Clearly, our audience is pretty dialed into this point. But if you are thinking about doing it, something it's like an exciting and strange dichotomy about the parks right now is that they have more IP. They being Disney. Disney owns more IP than ever. There's more attractions and build out on the parks than ever. So it's like a really exciting time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also mismanaged more now than it has been in a long time. And it's kind of chaos. Post COVID, they just really haven't figured it out again. They introduced the reservation process. That's a requirement now.
And I'm sure getting workers was
That's
hard,
the other
too.
thing. Is they're low on staff.
yeah.
They have more people going now than ever, lower on staff. So that's a problem, but I will say it's temporary. Just hold on. And if you go back, if you're a Disney fan, such as myself, I know there's cycles in this. Like,
Yeah.
when you were growing up in Anaheim, it was kind of a lull for Disneyland. Like, it was still a great place to go, but Disney California Adventure was a totally different park.
Oh yeah, it was way different.
Way
Since
different.
even the last time
It was
I had
kinda
been there,
lame.
which probably would have been high school. Like I had
Totally different.
not gone in college, like since being an adult. I
So
had
it was
not been.
California Screaming instead of the
Yes,
Incredicoaster.
yeah. It had like the big Mickey face.
It was really
where
ugly.
the loop was or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was when I went, and they didn't have any of the Marvel IP.
None of it.
They might have just been starting some of the Pixar stuff,
Maybe.
like Toy
Just
Story
barely, yeah.
and Cars.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't even think the Radiator Springs, what
But
we call
I think-
Cars Land, was there.
When I had last went, like Soarin' was new. That was the new ride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
It was all like based on
It
California.
was supposed to be
Yeah.
California.
Yeah,
exactly.
It wasn't the world one.
No,
it was the Soarin' California one for
Yeah.
sure. And
Which I think is a superior version of the ride, if you ask me. But
yeah.
that's me.
So I, of course, when we went, wanted to hit the classics. We didn't put that much thought into lunch. We just like stopped wherever because we
Right.
already knew like we had put thought into dinner.
By the way, some people, that is their jam. Is
Yeah.
like Disneyland food and the experience. Like they want to go to the Blue Bayou.
I wanted a
have
churro.
reservations. Yeah. Oh, I got to have a churro when I go. Some people, they'll spend 2.5 hours on the Blue Bayou. Like just like they get the vibes, just sitting there, get a drink, get dessert. That was never us. It's kind of becoming more us.
Yeah.
Because we've done so many of the ride things. so
Yeah,
often.
you guys have gone so many times that you could just go for a day and like
Not
do a
one
food
ride.
experience.
Oh yeah. I could easily go and not hit a ride,
Yeah.
which is a new thing for me.
I mean, we've spent entire days
We kinda
there
have
with
now.
maybe
One or two. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like just chill, do
Just
a lot
vibing.
of shopping, do all the other stuff. I mean, especially in DCA, there's full on Broadway musical plays you can go see.
Yeah.
They had the Frozen play going forever, which was so impressive. I don't mean a small theater. This is like a humongous Broadway level production. So yeah, there's something there for everyone.
Yeah, and there were certain places we specifically did not go with me for the sake of my wallet.
Yes.
Yes, that is true.
And I have since seen your videos of said places, and I'm like, yes, it is very good. We did not go there. But I think
Yeah.
shopping has become a much bigger part of
It's
the
a
parks.
way bigger.
Yeah.
Too,
That's right.
because of all that IP.
Yeah.
All the IP, and it's the Instagram social media era.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to like get that thing and then post you got the thing. That is a huge part of it now. Like downtown Disney, people will spend hours there. They have all these pop-up shops.
Not
and
even going in the park.
They don't go in the park once. All they do is shop.
See, that was my thing. I used to be in downtown Disney all the time because
Right.
House of Blues was there.
Yeah, and that was like a local thing to do.
Yeah.
You go hang.
And people are like, there's a theater at downtown Disney? I'm like, yeah, there's
Yeah.
a AMC,
A
there's
huge
a
theater.
ESPN zone.
Totally.
Like, there's a ton of stuff there.
Yeah.
That is now owned by Disney
owned
owns
by Disney.
ESPN.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's right. Oh, they own it all.
Yeah.
They own us.
House of Blues has since moved,
Yep.
but I went to a lot of shows there in high school. So I was always just like
What
on
a
the
funny
outside
place to go see a show.
of
That's interesting.
yeah.
That's crazy.
a lot of bands played there.
Deanna, I have a question for you specifically about the park. What did you think as a Star Wars fan? What did you think of Galaxy's Edge? Just generally.
I love how they set it up.
Yeah.
Because it very much feels like you're just like transported into
Totally.
that world.
Yeah.
Way less sandy than actual Star Wars, which
Yep.
is great.
Yes.
Yep. And one thing that I like that you enjoyed it, because some criticism of the area is that there's not enough to do. You hear that a lot. That there's only 2 rides. First of all,
It's immersive.
everything that Disney does, they do in phases.
Yeah.
So they open a park and it was just Smuggler's Run. And people are like, that's it? It's like this, that's all? But then a couple months later, it's Rise of Resistance. And they're going to keep adding to it. That's one point. But the other thing is, it's such an immersive experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the general public do not necessarily think the way you and I do.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, they can either open it now and have a couple things for you to do, or you could wait years for them to get more
Yeah.
rides built.
And I understand if you're one of those people that goes once every 20 years or something,
Yeah.
then yeah, you're going to want it all there for your experience. But for the vast majority of people, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
It's actually, you want there to be hope for more.
And
It's fun to look forward to things, right?
And just from a business perspective,
Oh,
the longer
totally.
they kept that closed, the more money they were losing by the day.
Totally.
If they were just paying people to keep building rides and not getting money from any of that merch.
100%.
Or, however much money they make off of lightsabers every day.
And the fact that they spent all the time on design and being immersed into a land, the like holistic experience, the something that you can't really put your finger on, that's what makes Disneyland special. That's why they're the best.
Yeah. I love watching like the Imagineering documentary.
Oh, it's great.
Series.
Especially of Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. Just the way that they create things for the
Yeah.
parks.
Yeah.
Is fascinating. I also watched Light and Magic recently,
Yep.
which I know is not Disneyland related, but just seeing the way
Same
that these
thing.
things come together,
Totally.
absolutely amazing. And I think a lot of people don't understand that
Appreciate, yeah.
part.
And I think also what I think they did right about Galaxy's Edge specific is they built it for Star Wars fans. Mm-hmm. They didn't build it for Disney fans. They built it for Star Wars fans. That's what that place is for.
There are people who will go to Disneyland just to go to Galaxy's
Oh,
Edge.
and they do all the time.
Yeah.
You'll see them. They'll walk through the entrance. They're all Star Wars out. And
Yeah, there's social clubs
they
that are
beeline
just for
right to
that.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And that's why they're there. And it's great. That's what makes this place. It's a welcoming place for all.
And it's like, yeah, sure, they might not have rides for you to go on all day.
Right.
But you can do Oga's Cantina. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
do
You can
the
do
lightsaber
lightsaber, yep.
build. You can build a droid, which I had to try very hard to not do
They
both.
they basically have a museum there. The name of the shop.
Oh, Doc Ondor?
Doc Ondor. That is such an impressive place to go. It's unfortunately very busy every time you go in there, but if you can kind of zone out the amount of people that are inside, it's such a fun place as a fan to just look around. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
And the little shows that they do.
The shows,
like
totally.
with the Millennium Falcon
Yep.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, they
If
have
you
a
wanna
life-size
sit-
Falcon.
Yeah, if you want to sit and watch that stuff, that'll eat up a good chunk of your day.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
I know.
We have before.
And they have R2 cruising around. Yeah, Chewie's walking around yelling at people. It's great. The
now-
stormtroopers are busting people's balls all day.
I love the Stormtroopers.
It's so funny.
And now the Mandalorian's walking around with his
Yeah.
little Grogu.
Yep. Which is so cool. He looks so impressive at the park. That like reflective, shiny armor he's
Yeah.
wearing. It looks so rad.
Yeah, and obviously as more Star Wars stuff comes out, they'll
Yeah.
be able to expand that too, because
Yep.
the Mandalorian is a new character.
Exactly. It's a new character.
Grogu, new character.
By the way, and I love seeing that at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
You'll see people my age or older who love the 80s films, the first three.
Yeah.
And like those characters, Chewie and Luke Skywalker and all that stuff. And then there's like the in-between era where everyone wanted like Anakin and that kind of stuff. And now people, the little kids, they want the newer movies and even newer stuff like Mandalorian and all the Disney Plus series. So
But it doesn't
it's
feel
really
like it's
cool.
just for the new
No, not at all.
generation.
Not at
It's-
all.
Yeah.
It's pretty well covered from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing, and I've heard dorks go, "Well, it's Batu, so why is so and so here? That doesn't even make any sense." It's like, well,
shut up.
you're gonna have to
It's
suspend some-
Disneyland.
yeah.
It's not real Star Wars.
Yes, take it easy. Take it easy. You're in the
This
middle of
isn't
Anaheim.
real sand. This is just concrete that's been pressed to look like sand.
And
Yeah, so it's better than sand.
The transformation from Disneyland, like either Frontierland or I guess Fantasyland, is so impressive.
That's the thing Disney is really good at too, is like the lands feel very specific,
Very
to
specific.
those things.
Yep.
I would say maybe a little less so with DCA,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
but I think given the IP, that's fine, because it's like when you're by
Right.
Marvel stuff, you're by Marvel stuff.
Totally.
And you're not going to make DCA look like New York.
No.
Right.
Exactly. Totally.
I think that some of the things that they're planning to do are going to be really helpful too. Like
Agreed.
they're changing the wharf into San Francisco from Big Hero 6.
Yep.
And like I think that like more modern look is going to lend well to like Avengers Campus to move into the Pixar area.
yeah. Totally.
So like, I think they are working on that too. It's just they're taking something that was created to be a California centered
Yeah.
thing, and like it's kind of just being slowly converted over to something that's a lot more Disneyland.
Yeah, because that's the thing with DCA. It wasn't like different areas before. It was
Yeah.
just DCA.
As a Marvel fan, did you like Avengers Campus? It's very small.
Yeah, they didn't have a
I
whole
call
lot.
it Avengers hallway.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't have a whole lot going on, but we did the Spider-Man ride, which, whew, what an arm workout.
Very
I'm
unarmed.
still sore.
It's fun though. It's super fun.
I'm still so...
It's a good ride for people that don't like roller coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're a little wary of kind of scary type of rides, this is the ride for you.
interactive stuff is great too.
Yeah, it's good for kids too.
and
They love it.
like I said, we didn't do Guardians, but we ate at Pim's.
Which was see, that's really fun.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I think people really they overlook about Disneyland. Those kind of moments are
Yeah,
really
because
special.
I was a little worried about time.
Yep.
Because I was like, okay, I know we're doing like a sit down and eat dinner, and it'll be a while.
Right.
Well, and you
Especially
have to,
with the size of that
you
chicken
gotta
sandwich I got.
choose. If all you do is ride all day and you don't eat, you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I used to be like that when I was a kid. Like I would go to Knott's
Yeah.
and just want to like
Just
keep
ride,
going
ride,
on the
ride,
roller
ride.
coasters.
Yeah.
and not really like want to sit down and eat.
Right. But you're a little kid, so you can.
Yeah,
It's different.
and also like more recently, I've just been like, I just want to pay for. I'm fine paying for
Me too.
experiences.
100%. Oh yeah.
Like, did
The
I need
older
to
I get.
buy a lightsaber? No,
but
but
yeah.
I wanted to build one.
Yes.
You paid for the build. That's
Yeah.
what you paid for. You paid. Yeah, you were one of few that day that got to do that in Galaxy's
Yeah, it's a
Edge.
very limited group. It's like
really cool.
10 people or something.
And they give you
Yeah.
that pin. It's on my vest right there. It's a cool moment. I'm happy I did it for sure. Yeah. So as far as the Marvel stuff, that's the other thing, Deanna, is like all the new IP that come out, there's new characters every day there. There's new experiences there. That Doctor Strange thing they do there is so rad, so impressive. Yeah, there's a ton of that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, and I obviously will not give spoilers, but even like the latest Black Panther movie is still introducing multiple new characters.
Totally.
You know, so I know some of them have been given away in the trailer, but
I've already
won't go
heard
there.
some Disney California Avengers Campus appearances are starting to happen.
yeah, so even if it's not nearly as extensive as like the movies or comics yet, it's going to get there.
It will.
Marvel has so many characters.
Oh, Disney's not dumb.
Yeah.
They know that Marvel's one of the biggest thing that draws fans in.
Yeah.
Just wait until they finish Avengers Campus at Walt Disney World.
My thing is,
Just wait.
like,
It's
they're
be
going to
bonkers.
run out of room.
They
Oh,
do.
yeah.
They do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
They will in California.
Yeah.
They won't in Florida.
That is very true.
They have so much unbuilt acreage there.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, they have basically the equivalent of some counties in America.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that the amount of land that
Yeah.
they have in Florida is insane. But as far as Anaheim goes,
Anaheim is a special,
I-
small amount of space.
I feel like you're starting to feel the limitations
Yeah.
of that space just because.
Which,
like-
by the way, is why I love it.
Right. And
But I hear your point, but I also think that's why you talked about Imagineering earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it special in California.
Pressure cooker.
yeah, because you and I hear this a lot about music,
Yep.
probably. It's like you can do whatever you want, but if you give yourself like parameters
I
to
was
work
just
within.
have you heard of how Jack White works in the studio?
I have not, but I can imagine
He
where
goes
this is
out
going.
of his way.
Yeah.
So, it's Jack White.
Yeah.
The label's like, how many years do you want for the record? How much money? He'll pare the budget down, way down, and he'll give himself like 3 weeks to make a record.
Mm-hmm.
Even 2 weeks sometimes. He'll go in there with untuned guitars, crappy guitars that he bought at Target. When he plays live, here's a good example of the stuff that Jack White will do. You know how a lot of people have the picks down their boom stand, their stand? For convenience, you drop a pick, boom, keep going. It's live. You don't want to fuck it up. Well, Jack White, he'll put like the picks on the other end of the stage. So if he drops a pick, now there's chaos.
Raising the stakes.
He's got to run across the stage to get it. He purposely gets guitars to go out of tune constantly. Just there's a bunch of he'll purposely have a cable instead
Yeah.
of a wireless pack. Like just create moments so something happens. There's no set list.
Yeah.
Something about that, to your point, if you create limits and it's not just an open world,
Yeah. And
then
that's
special
why
things will happen.
I'm always telling everyone I work with, have a schedule for your podcast. Because if you don't, you just won't keep doing it.
You won't. That's right.
Like, you guys have done Disney Dependent as long as you have because you gave yourself a schedule.
Yep.
Whether or not it's the same every week.
It's not the same every week, but it's every week.
Right.
No
exactly.
exceptions. Yeah. We owe it to the week to do one episode. So if you wait to the end of the week, you just have to text your editor and say, sorry, now can you fit it in over the weekend? That's Deanna, for those that don't know.
Yes, that is me.
The relentless editress.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where you have to give yourself those deadlines or parameters to
Yep.
get things done. And
Totally.
Disneyland literally could not move out in certain areas. Like, the
can't.
freeway is there.
The freeway's
You
there.
cannot.
People's homes are there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That you can
Of
get
course.
rid of.
Well, actually, yeah, you're right.
But you cannot get rid of
Disney
the
can
5.
outbuy all those homes if they wanted. Actually, I've heard a lot of argument to that people always say that Disneyland's running out of space. Yes, there's a freeway, but if you go in any other directions, it's just suburbs.
Yeah, but they can't go across the street.
They
'cause
can't go
have
across the
the
street. There's
convention
hotels
center.
and convention
Yeah.
center. Yeah.
They could buy
That's
out
true.
the homes that are like west of downtown.
You could
Disney.
have like a ferry to the other park,
Yeah, and
they'd
Right.
figure it out.
a lot of what they've done is they've
monorail.
cut into their parking and moved
Yeah.
employee parking down Catella.
That's
Yeah,
true.
the cast members have to
Yeah.
feel the pain now.
Always.
Yeah.
It's way down Catella too.
You know what I was just thinking is that it's kind of the opposite of like how like our content is consumed these days, where like back in the day you'd have like a few channels.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you'd have like a Blockbuster and they'd have a few limited amounts
It's like
of
whatever is
things
there
in
is what
stock.
you can rent,
That's
yeah.
what you have. And so you have to pick something from within those parameters.
Yep.
And it was always like fun and exciting. And you might argue about what you end up with, but nowadays it's like
There's
you have
so much.
7 streaming apps with unlimited options, and we'll just like sit there getting mad.
Like, why can't I pick anything? There's
I
never
can't
been
choose anything
more
'cause
things to
there's
pick.
Too many things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that, the opposite of that with Disneyland, where it's like it's more like that analog style where these are your options.
Yep.
Figure it out.
That's it. Yes.
My thing with streaming lately has been every time there's something specific I want to watch, it is not streaming.
Yeah.
It's the 1 out of 10 things that are
Yeah.
not
Oh yeah. Totally.
streaming.
I know,
Yeah.
it drives me crazy. Like, how was that possible? So I assume you've seen the new Black Panther,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
did you like it?
Yes.
Obviously, there's not a whole lot to not like.
I was going to ask if you knew that we saw it, but of course you did know that because
I think it's up there
we've
as
said that on.
it's
have we?
one of my favorite Marvel movies, if not now my new favorite.
It's so good.
It's up there. I mean, I'm still such a massive Guardians fan. I like both.
Yeah. I've kind of hit the point where I am tired because it's so much. Like,
Yeah.
I've
I
been wanting
know.
to watch Andor, and I just got
Can't.
one
Yeah.
episode in, and
I know. Haven't even finished The Mandalorian
I hear it's really
yet.
good, and I just can't care.
yeah, I watched She-Hulk.
Same thing. I haven't even
And-
started it.
I was like, this is too,
just too much.
It is
all
too
at
much.
once. And my problem is, which James, I know you come across this too, is because I like Star Wars and Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
It's just like I cannot.
You
I have
can't.
not gone to see Black Adam, the
Right.
latest DC movie. I did not see the Pets one.
Not to mention non-comic book or IP type movies, just normal movies.
Yeah.
There's so much out there now.
And because I also like horror,
Right. That's the other thing. We've seen every horror movie that comes out. So like, and that's, yeah, we go to the movies a lot.
same.
Like a lot. Yeah. You do too. And most people don't.
Yeah. I used to not go to the movies like at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a thing I did as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go all the time. But now, ever since I like signed up for AMC A-List,
I say it's the best. Yeah. We
even
have
when
the
I was
Cinemark thing.
living in Colorado and it was like a half hour each way to the theater, I would try to go 3 times a month, which is a lot more than most people
A
go.
lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have days now where I will do 2 movies back to back in a day.
Oh yeah. I can do that easily. Movie
just,
theater is
like-
still one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, get lunch or dinner in between, depending on
best.
what time the theater opens and what time your movies are. And
Especially a
It's
movie
great.
like Black Panther, the new one. That's how it's meant to be watched.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
a theater movie. Please don't go wait until it's on your
Yeah,
little
don't wait
TV
until
in
it's
the living
on
room.
Disney
I've
Plus.
waited for some just because,
I would just say
People
something
didn't like them?
that. That's like the one movie.
Yeah.
If you want to go see a movie in the theater and you haven't gone in years, that's the one to go see.
yeah, I didn't go see Thor in theaters.
Yeah,
A lot of
that
that
one's
was
fine.
timing,
that's fine. Yeah.
and I heard it wasn't great.
Oh, Ragnarok. That's my other top Marvel
Yeah,
movie.
Ragnarok, great. The other
Ragnarok.
3 Thor movies, rough.
Yeah, not amazing. Yeah, Guardians and now this new Black Panther. Those are my faves.
Yeah, but
So far.
on that note of IP, I have one last question for
Yes.
both of you.
Yes.
What is the one thing with the new IP that you'd like to see more of from Disney? Because obviously they're probably going to still phase out some of the older stuff in Disneyland.
Which makes me sad.
Yeah, but like, do we need Star Tours
Right.
if you have Galaxy's Edge?
No, you don't. Is the answer.
Right.
I think, I mean, I'm speaking for both of us, but I think I know where you're going, and that is they need to gut Tomorrowland.
Okay.
Tomorrowland is such a wasted space. We just got done talking how much valuable space is at Disneyland. It is so valuable. Sometimes there's places in Disneyland that these Imagineers and Disney itself, they'll obsess over like 2 feet. Mm-hmm. Like where the Swiss Family Robinson tree is. For a while it was the Tarzan tree. Now it's
Or
going
even
back
where the trash cans are.
where the trash cans are. All this really matters at Disneyland. Yet they throw all of that away in Tomorrowland. They have buildings that no one uses that are the size of like a Costco.
And Autopia is huge. It takes up so
Huge.
much of the footprint.
It's just smelly gas all day. I don't
And I know that like it gives some people like the warm fuzzy nostalgias, and it's kind of fun for a kid to be able to drive. But like, is that worth all of the
Here's the thing:
crazy
even if you
magic
kept,
that
even
they
if
could
you
put
kept
in there.
Autopia, even if you kept Autopia, the building. I always forget the name of the building.
Oh, I don't. The big rotunda thing.
The big wasted building.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. They have like character
Never been
meet
in.
and
I've
greets.
been
We've
there so
literally
many
never
times.
been in there because there's no reason to.
What would you want them to replace Tomorrowland with? Do you think they should use that as an opportunity to kind of expand their Star Wars stuff? Because the thing
There's
is,
an argument for that.
with Marvel and Pixar being in DCA,
Yes.
it doesn't really make sense to also have Marvel stuff in
No,
Disneyland.
I don't think they need to do that. Personally, I think Tomorrowland, as a Disneyland fan, if you're like Adventureland, Frontierland, Main Street, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, those are the lands. And if you mess with those, you mess with Disneyland.
Yeah. It needs to be Tomorrowland.
It has to be called Tomorrowland. Okay, well, the whole point of it that Walt Disney had was like, what does tomorrow look like? It's supposed to be like, the future, right?
And it's
which is
probably
hard to do.
Outdated by now.
Well, that's the problem
So
with doing things
outdated.
about the future.
Yeah.
It's outdated immediately.
Because this was what, the 50s?
50s.
Yeah.
So what I think they should do is they should do a version of the future that is always lasting. So for me,
retro version of the future.
retro. Do a past. The trick is you do the past version of the future. So you do like mid-century modern,
Yeah, very like Jetsons.
Jetson-y. That way it's always timeless and classic. And you fit things that make sense in there.
So not even necessarily IP. Just keep the Tomorrowland name and still Disneyfy it. But
I
don't
mean,
put like
the
Star
IPs
Wars or
You
something.
can't
in
get
there.
rid of Space Mountain.
You can't.
No.
People
So
will burn
that
the place
can
to the
easily
ground.
be
That
worked in.
arguably has stood the test of time
It
in
has.
comparison to.
Do you
some
know
of that
why it
other
has?
stuff.
Because I think you're onto something. Either has to have almost no IP in there, make it sort of an original corner of the
I
park.
mean, it's space.
It's space.
Yeah.
It's just space. What does Space Mountain mean? What does it even mean? Is there a mountain in space, or is it you go into space when you enter the mountain? I don't know. No one knows. No one cares. It's called Space Mountain. Great. It's
Yeah.
fun. And that works. I think we have a dream dark ride being Wall-E, where you're kind of floating around and you're in those little things that they sit in. That could be fun.
Like
They
a
won't do
Soarin'
it.
style.
They'll never do it
Yeah.
because who cares about Wall-E these days?
But like
I
Buzz
love Wally.
Aldrin-
I don't know
love
what you're
Wall-E.
talking about.
Oh, it's one of the
Everyone
best.
should love Wally.
Oh yeah.
Me and you agree on that. I just mean the greater.
Yeah.
Like Buzz
They-
Astro Blasters. Get it out of there.
That's where COVID originated from. It is just a germ spreading.
There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
And also,
Gross.
Toy Story shit is all over in DCA anyways.
Yes.
So yeah,
I
definitely.
I don't have an answer for what kind of IP should be in there. That is kind of a confusing mess. But as far as the vibe,
I
here's
think
what
something that hasn't come out yet.
exactly. What I don't think it should be is just a bunch of concrete that's not being used.
That looks
Yeah.
like an 80s
They have dead monorail
mall.
trail that no one uses.
No one needs a people mover.
that doesn't even run.
LAX needs a people mover.
Yeah.
LAX needs
They're
a people
getting
mover.
a people mover. It doesn't need to be a
know.
ride.
No.
I mean, if you just made all of that area restaurants and more gift shops, honestly, I've heard a good argument. You know how Main Street is just straight, and then there's what they call the hub, that little circle. Some people, and I agree with this, say that Main Street could take a right there. Like the entrance into Tomorrowland could be more of Main Street.
Okay.
So you have more of the classic turn of the century. Make that the theme. So after that Main Street little hook, then it's the mid-century modern,
Yeah, and
old timey.
you can easily transition from that Victorian style
Yes.
into something that's kind of in between, maybe more like Depression era, like
Uh-huh.
30s, and
Yeah.
then into the mid-century modern futuristic aesthetic.
You could not have one single attraction through all of Tomorrowland, and I wouldn't care.
Yeah, no, I'd
And
probably
I don't
spend a
think
lot more time there,
most Disneyland fans wouldn't care either. So
except for a few
there you go.
vocal
Yeah.
minority.
yeah, have Space Mountain be the only ride there, and I'm fine with that. But they won't do that. So I don't know. And the fact that we can't figure it out here as fans is why Disney hasn't done it either, because they also
Yeah.
can't figure
And
it
they
out.
won't be spending any money on that for a very long time.
And so instead, they'll like redo the sign to Tomorrowland once every 5 years. They'll change the way it's. Do you remember what they called the French fry rocks? Do you remember that growing up? There was these little rocks that looked like French fries.
Amazing.
That was like at the entrance of Tomorrowland, and they got rid of those, and that was a big thing. Everyone talked about it. Because that's how little people care about Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really is just sort of a wasted space at this point. Other than Space Mountain.
A wasted space
A wasted
other than
Space Mountain. That's my take. I care a lot about it, apparently.
Well, that's all I have for you two. I think we ended up chatting more than I asked questions,
Yeah.
but that
That's
was
okay.
a
It
given.
happens.
That was
It
a given with
That
us.
happens. We are chatty.
Yes, but thank you. This was fun. We talked
Yeah,
about
it
bathrooms.
was fun.
We had to get that in.
We got to, man. Bathrooms
Look,
are a
we
big
talked
part of our
about
lives.
bathrooms, rides, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar.
What
We're good.
else is there?
What else is there? Nothing I care about.
That's right.
Just have something to do with Disney IP. Who cares?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.